What's up, guys? This is the Atheist Chef, and today we're going to be talking about preaching the atheist gospel. That's right, gospel, because as we know, gospel actually just means good news. And for those like myself, atheism was really good news. It opened up the world to critical thinking and reasoning and logical thinking. It opened up the sciences, cosmology, evolution, biology, all these different things that those like myself never had to worry about before because, hey, as far as we knew, God done it. And I think this is something that all in the world need to experience. I would think that would make this world a good bit of a better place. A world filled with more facts, more empirical and demonstrable facts, and less superstition and faith. However, there's some certain ways that you need to go about it. You can't go up to a group of people and sit there and go, "Ah, you're lying to yourself, you're deceiving yourself, and you have to think like I do, otherwise you're wrong." Because that's what Christians do. And not just regular Christians, I mean the in-your-face, just street preacher Christians. We don't want to be like that. Even Christians look at those street preacher Christians and go, "Okay, buddy, time to back off." A lot of these Christians I know, they're not jerks like that. So we don't need to be jerks like that either. People are still people. And if you attack them, then they're just going to curl up and just kind of get in that defensive stance. That is not what atheism is trying to do. We're not trying to, shove it down people's throats. Now, I remember when I was a Christian, I used to have this thinking, because there was the scripture in the Bible talking about being the city on the hill, being a light. And so I always thought about, we want to be the light that is warm and inviting to people, and not that person holding a Q-beam, holding it, flashing the light right in the people's eyes. No, I'm taking that and converting that to the atheistic side. You don't approach people. You don't go, "Hey, did you know that God doesn't exist?" We don't knock on people's doors and tell them the good news that God doesn't exist. It doesn't work out that way. People should be able to still approach you. And when that conversation comes up, either in a public forum or in a kind of debate or just random conversation, then you take that time. Just like Christians are supposed to be doing as well. It's the same things that we were taught, at least I was taught. And I really think we should borrow from that Christian ideal of how to actually effectively witness in this case. Understand where Christians are coming from. There is a wide range of Christians out there, starting from the very conservative, likely haven't read all of their Bible, or if they haven't read all of it and they were told, "Don't worry about it because the Bible is perfect and everything you need is in there and there's no contradictions, and if there are any contradictions, the Bible explains it out really, really well." And that's what they've been taught, and they're not they're not willing to explore it for themselves, and they're just going to go blindly from what their parents or whatever some pastor has told them. You may not get much from them, so be prepared for just the standard kind of script that they may go off of. Secondly, you may come across more liberal Christians. These are more readied up, more studied up than your conservative Christian. They probably know a lot of verses that you don't. So you want to make sure that you actually know what you're talking about. You want to make sure that you don't treat any of these Christians that I'm going to bring up or have brought up like complete idiots. Not that I'm saying that any Christian is a complete idiot. Well, okay, I've known some. But you do that with anybody. They may know more than you do. They may be able to put you to shame. I go on Reddit on the Debate a Christian and all that, and I get floored sometimes. And I consider myself relatively smart as far as what goes on in the Bible, and very well learned up. But sometimes, man, they can throw some stuff at you, and you just never know. Have respect for the person you're talking to. The person in front of you is likely not an idiot, and you wouldn't want them to treat you like an idiot. So do the same thing for them. Show respect to them. Don't be a troll. Don't be an asshat. Again, because you're going to draw up that barrier and you start attacking them. But at the same time, you have to remember a lot of people will be just kind of set in their ways. Some of these people are afraid. Some of these people are afraid to go to hell. And they're not willing, or they're afraid to actually just, peek out just a little bit and check and see how the weather is like outside. And it can be scary for them. So have patience. Try not to turn this into like where you think you're going to be able to convert them. It doesn't go that way most of the time. But just be rational, be reasonable. Try to always remain the voice of reason and not a jerk about it. Do not get angry with them. If you go into it thinking you're going to deconvert them, you're going to quickly get angry because Christians, or you may come across a Christian that will just simply not believe anything that you say. You could lay out bulletin point of evidence, just point by point by point by point, and it's a slam dunk argument. But a Christian will go, no, you just have to have faith, or that's not a contradiction, or whatever. Or as my conservative ex-girlfriend said, that sounds like mythology to me. So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to feel it's just going to blow your mind that they won't listen to you. But if you get angry over it, then you're going to start saying stupid things. You're going to say things that are hurtful, or you're just going to sound angry. And then the Christian's just going to stand there smugly, just say, look how pathetic he is. He's getting angry over this. Or you don't want to leave open a bad experience. You don't want the Christian to look at the first encounter with an atheist or an atheist discussion and be like, oh, all these guys are jerks. You kind of hurt the cause. You kind of hurt that humanist cause of spreading of logic and free thinking when you just look like an asshat. So try not to get angry. Respect them, for who they are. Make sure that this is a discussion and not a deconversion attempt. Be familiar with Christians' arguments. You want to make sure that you know what you're talking about and that what they bring up doesn't really throw you for a loop. The last thing you really want is, to have a discussion with somebody and then, they say something and you don't know how to reply, and then they trot up victoriously because they think they've won the conversation. However, I'm not going to sit here and list all of the things that Christians are going to say. One, because there's far too many to try and say. And secondly, I want to promote an open discussion. We don't want you street preaching to these guys, and just because they said the magical key word that you pull up in your head, oh, in this situation, I say this. There is a very slight difference. And as I will say before, and we'll have said before and we'll say multiple times, the point is we're having a discussion. But overall, it's still very important that you know what they're going to say and be prepared for it. Learn the common logical fallacies that Christians use and ones that you may even have used yourself, and how to be able to spot them. Sometimes Christians may not be aware of what they're doing. They may not be aware of what they're saying. Remember that you're trying to overall have a discussion with them. This is not the opportunity to catch them in the straw man fallacy and sit there and let Final Fantasy VII music playing off in your head like, yes, I win because they use this fallacy. I can't wait for him to shut up so I can tell him that he's wrong. We don't want that. Again, that kind of falls back to being a jerk. So be prepared for what they may say and be able to stop them in their tracks. Well, not so much stop them in their tracks to speak, but be able to kind of say, hey, look, this is not very logical. And if they do have any real value or respect for logic, when you say that and point that out, that may kind of tip the scales in your favor. That may help them understand that maybe they don't know as much as they thought they did. And again, this isn't just so you can claim victory. We are really trying to impart a little seed of, knowledge and reasoning and critical thinking and logic. So this arguments are being able to see logical fallacies and point them out might just be a very good tool for you. But don't abuse it. Don't be a jerk about it. Realize that you may never, ever, ever convert the person that you're talking to. But I love open forum places like Reddit and YouTube and the occasional Facebook post where the person allows it. If you're having the discussion, you may never convert that person, but you don't know who's watching or listening or reading to anything of what you say. For example, I am starting to do some videos, back and forths with G-Man, and he has Christians that watch him as well. And these discussions that me and G-Man are having, some of his Christian followers could see some of my points and go, well, that does make sense. And who knows what can come from that. Again, I'm not trying to deconvert these people. I'm trying to teach them to use logic and reasoning and critical thinking. And that may just be the first step. And that's maybe all that they need. And if nothing else, if I've done my part on teaching people those three things, logic, critical thinking, and reasoning, I've made this world a better place. In conclusion, I hope this was helpful to you guys, how to teach the atheist gospel, as it were, and to those Christians that may have been watching this. Maybe this will show you that we're not all evil, that we're not trying to street preach you and to do the same things as the annoying Christian street preachers are. Hopefully it shows my fellow atheists out there to not be jerks, to be prepared to deal with a lot of frustrating things, to be prepared to not convert the people, and to not even treat discussion with a person as if you're having this opportunity to deconvert them, as it is not the important part of what we're trying to do here. So go forth, my fellow atheists, spread the world with logic and reason and critical thinking. Mwahahaha.